on that because it burned down and now it's not zoned the same and it's too small, and I just thought I was getting a good deal, which is what it was. I was getting a good deal. Now I should be able to do what I want to do.
Did you hear that, guys,
You know,
Jim and Dave? Because we're talking about a piece of property that's east of the courthouse where, I can't remember who lived there, Jim, you would, but their house burned down. Do you remember who that was?
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, years ago the house burned down and it's a bare lot. It's the one that sits to the north of the apartments there, where Lon Tuller's office used to be.
Bill Reed.
There you go.
Bill Reed, yeah.
Bill and Jean Reed.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, he bought that lot on back taxes, and now he wants to build something there, but it's not big. It's only like 66 by 66, and it's a corner lot. And Terry said, I can't give you the setbacks, you know.
That's
well,
right.
and that's, but the thing is, there is a provision in there. You know, there is a provision in there to kind of deal with that. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to be able to build as big of a property as he thinks or building as he thinks he wants. But in that situation, what did you say, it was 66 by?
66, I think, isn't it? Terry, maybe?
I don't know.
That's something
Well,
like
according
that.
to code, it's not big enough.
No.
Well, and
Not a
that's,
corner,
you know,
yeah.
so in that situation, the corner, you have two front yard setbacks.
Mhm.
What is this residential or?
Yep.
Okay, let's go
Well-
through that specific
No, it's
instance.
actually C1.
Yeah, commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, see.
Under C1.
It's right behind you.
Yeah, that's the only one we can see.
I would see one.
Underneath it, there you
Well,
go.
if you're in C1, there are no front yard setbacks.
Yep.
But it's in residential, I mean, isn't.
But if you put a house in C1, it references you to residential.
That's.
Because there are other houses above. What, R2, I think it is?
I can't remember which one, but it'll reference you to that for setbacks.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why Tuller's.
Down at the bottom of the sheet.
Yes, I see what
My
you're
color
saying.
office is what?
Built so screwed.
That's one lot, anyway, isn't it?
Not wide, it's long.
Isn't that one per
Right.
lot?
Well, in that case, okay, so you've got, what's your front yard setback for residential?
25.
25.
25 feet, so you take 25, oh boy, that really does cut it down, doesn't it?
15
See, that's what we're
rear.
running into in a lot of our original town, is some of those lots are 55 and 60 foot wide.
We have a lot of 50-foot lots, and the
Right.
majority of the lots in this town are 60s.
Right.
Majority.
But there are some that are 55 and whatever, and that's where we're running into
And on
problems.
page 2.2, now corner lot's gonna be a little bit different. Page 2.2, there's that table at the top of the page, which is that calculation for dealing with those narrow lots. Page 2, or 2.22, excuse me.
I was gonna say,
I'm
your
sorry.
page is different than mine.
2.2, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Page
There we go,
2.22.
okay.
Your minimum, and the number I have in here isn't quite right because this was an example, but your minimum lot width is 65 feet for a residential district.
Yeah.
If you got those 50-foot lots, for the difference in there, in that case you got 15-foot difference, you can take that 15-foot difference times 3 inches. In that case, you're going to be 45 inches, you know, almost 4 feet, that you can take off of those total side yard setbacks.
There's only
You
one
can-
side yard to it.
Yeah, and the corner lot's going to be a little bit.
The opposite of your
Corner lot's going to be a little
rear
bit
lot,
different, right?
and you have a frontage on the other side, so you only have one side.
Right.
Inside, or front yards are not.
You can't mess with the front yard. On that.
There's one sheet says you can, but our book says you can't. So
Right. Well, you mean as far as in there, again, that'd have to be.
It's not a special exception, it would have to be a variance.
Have to be a variance. A front yard variance is probably not something, even in that case, you said 66 foot wide, take off 25 feet, still got 41 feet, what's your side yard setback?
5 and 15 in combination there.
Total.
Well, in that case, you only have one. You're only gonna have one side yard setback, because you only have one side yard. So you're gonna have 5 feet. You can take it, so
Yeah,
you could
15
still
off
put a
the back.
30, you could still put a 36, well, you're only gonna have one rear yard. You can have 2 front yards with
Right.
1 rear yard.
But your rear yard is the opposite of your address, so you
That's
got
correct.
25 and 15 off that. I mean,
You're getting pretty small, but you can still build a house there.
Well, it's one of those things.
Now, it isn't something that maybe he wants a bigger one. Oh, I want a bigger one.
Yeah.
Well, We're not
Make it
telling you you
two-story.
can't build one, you gotta build a two-story or a
Right.
townhouse style house or whatever, and, granted, people prefer different things. But you're not taking, in telling that guy, you can do it, we can reduce your side yards a little bit, whatever, but we're not taking away his total ability to put something up there. And you could build something real nice.
But we're back to that, let the buyer beware.
That's right.
Specifically when they're picking up
Right.
lots on back taxes and
That's right.
thinking that they can just do whatever they want with them.
Right.
Because we've had some that, and we have an ordinance here where we'll pick up this lot at back taxes and we'll just build a garage there, but no house.
That's not-
And we're like, no, you
sometimes that's not
can't do
allowed.
that. So that's not allowed. So then they get cranky with us and we're like, well, you can build a house there, but you can't build.
Now, if the neighbor buys that lot and says, I want to make my property bigger, I want to put a garage there, that's fine, because then the neighbor's property becomes that much bigger.
Right.
They can do that.
And then the neighbor can sell it back to the original guy who built the garage, and he gets the garage.
Can't do that.
Why couldn't you?
He's gonna have a non-conforming use. The city could, effectively, the city's gonna have to fight him for that. The city's gonna have to say, you can't do that.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Once, 2 years later, he sells it, and we're gonna go after him 2 years after it's been built?
I would think that would be a.
Well, that's,
That'd be a stinky one too.
it would, but, that's effectively the city's police power then. It's no different, you're breaking the law in doing that. It's the city's responsibility to.
Oh, then we should just be careful up front. That
And
makes
in
more
that
sense.
type of a situation, what's generally gonna happen
What wall's
is
being broken?
the zoning ordinance. Ordinance is law.
But what I'm saying is what did he do wrong? What did the person who purchased just the property with a garage do that's wrong according to the
Well,
ordinance?
the purchaser.
he didn't build it.
The purchaser
It
didn't
was
do
there.
anything. Right, but it was part of a bigger piece of property.
Right.
It was part of, it's the same situation.
But our
Anybody
ordinances are
breaks-
focused on keeping people from doing inappropriate things. He's not doing anything, it's already in existence at the time that he purchases it.
What's gonna happen there is a title opinion's gonna say, you're in violation of the zoning ordinance. You can't do this, you don't have that principal permitted use. And again, the city's gonna be responsible for fighting that, and the city would win, just like the city is responsible for upholding any law that's on its books. Whether that's a speeding ticket, or a disorderly house, or any violation. Now, if the city doesn't pursue it, somebody does it, they're probably not gonna have clear title to that property. Because it's gonna say, or show in an abstract, that, well, wait a minute, we don't have clear title to that. There's a clouded because it's a non-conforming use. But if the city doesn't pursue it,
What if they don't know about it?
again, ignorance is not an excuse. Just, if
What if
I
they
don't know
never,
this.
seriously, what if they never find, I
Well,
guess
it's no
they put
different
in
than
a small town.
if I don't know a speed limit's 30 through town,
Yeah, you
the
get-
police officer's not gonna, if I don't see the sign or it's hidden by a tree.
But that's not the same, because in law, that's actus reus. That's actively committing an act of illegal action.
But
In this case, there is no actus
title
reus.
search
There's totally an act.
What's the act?
If I do this and sell this
I'm talking
garage.
about the purchaser, not the seller. I'm talking 2
I'm
years
not talking,
later and
the city
purchaser-
the city probably wouldn't pursue the
It
purchaser.
should be.
The city would go after the
You
seller.
go after the seller.
Okay.
This was done.
Okay.
Yeah, the city would certainly go after the seller. Now,
you
if
and
the
I
purchase-
both know
now,
there's an instance that's about to occur.
Now,
like
if
that.
everybody knew it, if this was a situation where, well, I want to buy this property and put up a garage, can't do that, the neighbor doesn't, buys it, and we're all in cahoots, then there's,
There's
everybody
collusion.
knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, you can't, and that stuff does happen.
We're talking about a unique model
Yeah.
circumstance.
That's the one.
Yeah, but Adam, that's very true, but it seems like here lately, we run into a lot of unique situations.
Right.
Seems like we're setting precedences that we don't want to set.
That's right.
Right.
Well, and that's why I challenge us to push it a little farther, because
Well, that's, again, it's going to be up to the city, the city's going to have